Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Kat and Sarah We Go Deep. We have a fun topic today. How much control do we have in life anyway? Kat and I were chatting before we hit record, and we're not sure we have any control.
Yeah, but and we certainly will revisit some of the conversation that we had before we hit record. But ultimately, I think, and this kind of would be the summary, but you know, I think the important thing that we are seeing is that if we don't have very much control, which is kind of what we were concluding, that's okay. And there's some upside to that. So it sounds like that's where we're going to go. Do we have control? If we do, how much? And if we don't have much control, what's the implication of all that?
Well, I had started off by sort of observing that my state of mind seems to affect how much control I think I have in life and how much control I think might be needed. So if I'm in a high mood, high state of mind, high consciousness, I'll see things from a bigger perspective. And it just looks like everything is stepping out, meant to be, each brick in the path is laid as it's meant to be laid, and everything happens in divine timing. And it looks to me like I don't have control over that, but why would I want control anyway? Like, I'd be insane. And then when I'm in a less good mood, a lower mood, lower state of mind, it looks to me like, yes, we have control, we need to control. Maybe more like a cultural or society, or the way the average sort of person might look at their life. Well, if it's up to me, what's that?
If it's to be, it's up to me.
It's to be, it's up to me. Well, that's a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah.
So just when I was saying that to you earlier, I realized that my whether control looks like a good idea or not, or whether it looks like I have control or not, is kind of an indicator of where my state of mind is. And, am I more narrowed in or am I more expanded out? And yeah, it's good
No,
to be aware.
I that is so cool that you're bringing that perspective in, because I hadn't thought about that. And as you spoke, to me, it's like, absolutely, that's how it feels, like it is for me when I'm really, operating from my personal thinking, versus approaching life from universal mind, from the intelligence of life has got it right. And I there's not much for me to do. I'm in the driver's seat of the car, but I don't even have to put my hands on the steering wheel. There's so much less pressure. And exactly what a good indicator, like our episode before, since I'm in a car, the check engine light, like if it's looking like, and I'm feeling like I need to control, there's something I need to do, I have control. If it's to be, it's up to me. That should be a good check engine light that I'm doing life, being from my personal self. And there's another way to be in life, and to, that's so much less effortful. And it is such a relief off the shoulders. The weight comes off the shoulders when we realize that maybe we really have very, very little control, and it's okay that we don't, because something else has got us.
Mhm.
More intelligence that has, has an ability to spin the planets and make a baby and digest our food and all those things. And like you said, I love that. Put the next brick in front of us.
Yeah. I had I had talked about, it looked to me like we had control over where we put our attention or our focus. But then more recently, it was looking to me like, well, who is it who decides where I want my attention and focus? Where did that idea come from? And it doesn't feel like it was me. Ideas feel like they come from nowhere, and it just popped in. It was like the wisdom of the universe. And so that's where the paradox of, the statement, oh, I put my attention on what I want to have for lunch, say, or whatever, did I really put my attention? Did I? Who did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the feeling of life living through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something like, it does feel like a paradox to me in a way, that there does seem like control or ability to bring awareness away from one thing into something else. That feels like, but the idea to do that, I'm feeling revved up in my body. I'm probably really, having some revved up thinking. I'm having this gotta make it happen thinking. So maybe I can just relax and just allow and just be. Oh, that seems like I have some control to shift, right? To bring my awareness that I am that. But even that doesn't feel like it really came from a me. The idea to do that, woo, this is pretty woo-woo, Sarah. What do you think? I just think the bottom line is, though, the difference in living life, if it were true that we don't have control, and if it is true that we live in a benevolent universe, and we don't need to be in control. Like the moments I've experienced that, or sometimes more than just moments, where I've actually lived life as that and from that and let life live through me, it is easier, more peaceful, less effortful, more beautiful. So I don't know, I guess I kind of have had enough experience that that sort of feels like, no, we don't have much control and we don't need to.
Yeah. And it's a good thing. It's a relief. It's like, oh, thank goodness. And yeah, the life that comes through is more perfect for each person than you could even imagine. And yeah, and specific, you'll live Kathleen's life.
Yeah.
My life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The idea of control does kind of imply that, we're using our intellect to figure something out, to come up with a plan, to like control, meaning do something. And how could the, brain that sits in our head, how could our personal mind even compare to what divine mind, what God, is capable of seeing for us, like you were just saying, the life that we were meant to live, how we're made, what we're made for. We can't orchestrate that, really. I mean, if we try, we're going to live in a very small, limited box.
Yeah. I was thinking, oh, I'm pretty smart, but I don't think I'm that smart. I'm pretty smart.
Hey, I mean, I was raised by, college educated parents, engineer, like the whole idea that the intellect is the end all be all, like that's a very limited tool, a good tool, a helpful tool, a useful tool. But if that's all we rely on to live an amazing life, or just a peaceful, beautiful life, we're missing out on something bigger.
Yeah. I had also brought up that it looked to me that possibly our only choice of control was whether or not we were going to resist or not. And so the choice is, do we want to make life harder for ourselves or make life easier for ourselves? Because yeah, whatever was going to happen was seemingly going to happen anyway. It came to mind an example where for a while now, actually for a really long time now, I've been wanting to write a book. And I've kind of been talking about it for a year and a half, maybe. But prior to when I wasn't talking about it, I had decided that I didn't want to write a book, like actively decided, no, I'm not doing that several times. And on many occasions, I would find files in my computer that I had written under possible book titles that I didn't. It's like, it was this weird paradox feeling where it was like, oh, I didn't write that. I did. And I remembered it, but like, it was like I'm writing and I'm like, I don't want to, but this book seems to want to come through. And I just had all these, thinking about it's too hard, or, I was stopping myself, and I thought it just meant that I didn't want to, like, oh, you can just let that project go. You don't have to do that. So my point was, life seems to be writing a book, even though for years and years and years, I actively did not want to.
Interesting. Yeah, something you said, a question arose, like, do we have choice? And again, it looks like we do. We can choose this or choose that. But if there's really not a me, right, then there really can't be a chooser.
Yeah.
That something else, like, if we were to look at your example of writing a book or not writing a book, right? Like, was that a choice? Well, I've decided I'm not going to write the book. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you made the choice. I'm not going to write the book. And then all of a sudden there's these documents on your computer where, oh, you actually were writing.
I was, and I still am. It's way easier when I just go with it.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like things like a friend recently asked me what I wanted to eat for, we were going out for lunch. Do you want Mexican? Do you want Italian? Do you want sushi? And it was like I watched myself go, ooh, sushi. I said to the person, I'm surprised that I want sushi, but apparently my whole body was going with, and it came out of my mouth, let's do sushi. It was a delicious lunch. Universe me apparently wanted some rice and fish.
I'm trying to formulate a question.
Mhm.
What about someone who really, really in this moment, their perspective is, oh, we have, on the spectrum of 0 control to 100%. Like, what about that person that really sees things on a level, that it looks to them like, oh no, we do have most of what happens, most of what we do, most of what we choose, most of what we think is within our control. What is something you'd want the person who doesn't see much of what we're talking about, what would you want them to know?
I don't know. Maybe you'd asked a similar question on one of the previous things about what the topic we were talking about, and what about the person who doesn't see it that way. And I think I would say the same thing I did then, was just look for yourself. Look at moments where you feel or it looks like you have control, and just looking at where did that decision come from, or different questions you might ask yourself, or looking to a space of expansion within. And just what does it look like for each person?
Cool.
Yeah. And if it, because it, like, we're equating having control over life as being kind of tiring, like, ugh, that's exhausting, I'd rather do less. Now, a lot of people might enjoy having seeming control. It might be awesome. And so, okay. I don't need to talk anyone out of that.
No, no.
Yeah.
But if someone were curious,
Yeah, for sure.
While you were talking, I was listening to what you said, and that is, I love it. Like, just those posing those questions, like just some inquiry around what their experience is, and really taking a look at that. And I also thought, like, someone could do a little experiment, just for whatever frame of time felt comfortable, to just play with, like, what if I didn't have control? What would happen? What would I do if I just didn't have a plan? Didn't make a choice? Like literally just said, okay, for the next, I'm gonna sit in a chair, or I'm gonna go outside and lay down in the hammock, and for 5 minutes, I'm just gonna lay there and just see what occurs, what arises, what occurs, what happens, and just respond to what they feel, what they desire, oh, a bird shows up. Wouldn't it be cool to take a picture of that bird? Oh, let me go get my camera, my phone, and take a picture. Like, I don't know, maybe it would be kind of fun to just create a little slice of their life where they tried to live for it. And I mean, I would propose do it for a half a day or a day of just, like, not choosing, not deciding, just responding. just being in their life and responding to like whatever arises. Do what feels good, do nothing if that feels good, just as an experiment.
Yeah. No, that's fun. It also occurred to me that we're looking, when we're talking about, do we have control, or when we say, where does that decision come from? Like, oh, the word sushi just popped out of my mouth. We're looking to sort of before behavior, before thought, before experience, I guess, might be a way. So kind of looking to nothingness, allness, looking within. There's many sort of words that don't quite cut it all the time. of pointing to the place we're looking. And we're not looking in past experience, for example. We're not looking in like cool techniques or, life hacks, or I read a thing 2 weeks ago, or kind of. So what I had said, look and see for yourself. And sometimes curious questions can bring you to that place. Like, where did that decision come from?
Yeah, I think that sounds really, really like a good idea. Sounds very helpful. I didn't want to say the word helpful, Sarah Joy.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Dr. Kathleen Perry. I'm glad I'm so helpful.
There's nothing wrong with being helpful when it's appropriate.
Agreed. Well, I think we'll wrap it up for this week. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.
Bye. See you next time.